So Peruvian chicken is normally cooked on a rotisserie. If you go to any of the many Peruvian chicken restaurants that have opened, you'll see big rotisseries behind the counter, and they're delicious. Now, I don't have a rotisserie. I have looked into adding one to the Chudbox, which may happen this year. But we're going to try a couple of different options here. I've got going to cook one on the Chudbox over charcoal and a couple wood chunks. And then we're also going to cook one on the Traeger Timberline XL. On the Traeger, I'm going to start it at 225 using the super smoke mode. Let that run for, I don't know, 30-45 minutes before I bump it up to about 350. On the Chudbox, we're doing the same thing. We're running between 300 and 350. So they should hopefully come out together, and we'll see. We'll do a comparison of the two. So we're going to make the marinade for the Peruvian chicken. We're going to do 2 chickens, so we're going to double up this recipe. So first in the bowl, you're going to put a tablespoon of a neutral oil. Today I'm using avocado oil. So we'll pour that in there, about a tablespoon. Okay, so to the olive oil, we're going to add 1 to 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. A lot of people use the low sodium. We're just going to go with regular today. And remember, we're doubling this recipe up. And next, for a normal recipe, it's 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Next is a tablespoon of lime, or normally a good squeeze of a half of a lime. We'll split this. Okay, next we're going to take our molcajete here, move this out of the way, and put in a couple tablespoons of whole cumin seeds. Now you could toast these ahead of time, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a couple of these in and start crushing them. Alternatively, you can use cumin powder. And look at that, that smells good. Now while I'm at it, so I don't make a mess, I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of Mexican oregano. Because we're doubling, I'm going to add a bit more. Oop. Well, let's just say we like oregano. And mix that in with the cumin. Normally with Mexican oregano, you're going to crush it in your hands anyway, so this works out pretty well. Okay, there we go. So let's add that to the mix. Okay, next comes garlic cloves. So you can use 3 to 6, whatever your preference is. I've got 4 large ones and kind of a medium, so I'm just gonna, I've got 3 large ones. Okay, we got those. I'm just going to give them a rough chop. Nothing too detailed, just chop it up a little bit. And then we're going to add all that to the marinade. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. This is what's going to give it that color. Here's 1. And that'll finish up that other one. We're going to use a pinch of salt. About that much. And some black pepper. About that much. And then finally, a couple of Peruvian ingredients. First is this ahi amarillo paste. This comes from a yellow pepper that they grow in Peru. We're going to be using this a few times on the channel, but for now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of this to the mix. See that paste? It's kind of spicy, kind of creamy. It's got a very unique taste. I would probably do it injustice if I tried to describe it. Now, second is another paste that they make, same company. It's a ahi panaka. It's a darker, it's a more reddish brown, a little more heat to it. I do not have any of that. These are both hard to find in the US, so I usually order them from Amazon. But now that we have everything together, we're going to whisk it up till you get it to looking like that, and now we can set it aside and let it rest for a little bit and get all them flavors together. I think I might add just a little bit more oil to this. Push that in. Okay, so while that's sitting, we're gonna prep the chicken. Okay, so I forgot one thing. Normally there's onion powder in this as well. It's a tablespoon per serving, so if you're doing 2 chickens, I would put 2 tablespoons of onion powder. What I'm doing instead though is I am going to dice up a shallot into small pieces and add that to the mix. Let's see how that goes. I think it's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in about a ½ teaspoon of onion powder. Now we can move on to the chicken. Okay, we've got our 2 chickens here. I've taken out their packaging, wiped them down, and now let's look at doing some spatchcocking. I did dry them off with a paper towel, but there's a lot on the inside. So what we're going to do, we're going to put it on the back. We're going to cut along each side of this backbone. You guys have all seen spatchcock videos, so I'm not going to go into this in too detail. But we'll need a good pair of shears. And basically just go alongside that bone, the backbone, and you'll encounter some bones you'll need to cut through. Use your big boy hands. And then just take it to the end. And now you see how it opens up. We got this rib cage here, and now I need to go back and cut along this side to take the other one out. Well, now that we have that out, we're going to open it up, pull out some of this, trim it up a bit. This extra fat you really don't need down in here. I'm just going to trim some of this away. You can take out some of this silver skin as well if you'd like, but mainly you're just going to try to clean it up. Get all the icky pieces out, see, like that. Nobody wants to eat that. Okay, now that you've got it breastbone removed, you got it split, you got it cleaned out. Well, that was the backbone we removed. We're going to take this breastbone and we're going to split it so it'll flatten out easier. Really, that's all you need to do. And then from here on, you can basically just split it by hand. There we go. See? We got that breast meat showing here. You got the breastbone. We could actually take it out, but I'm going to leave it in. And now, this guy is ready for the sauce. Now, something else you may want to do, because in this one you see there's no real access under the skin, so you may want to cut you some slits, and I'll do that in a minute, so you can get under the skin to get that marinade deep in there, not only along the thighs and the drumsticks, but in the breast as well. So, okay, let me finish this one, and then we'll do this one and come back with the marinade. Okay, so we got them both spatchcocked, cleaned up, ready to apply the marinade. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the meat side first. And basically, it's best to do this by hand. Remember, we're doing two, so you need to ration this out. I don't know if I made enough. I don't need a chunk of garlic that big. And just spread it around by hand. Get dirty, get in there, get it everywhere. Okay, and then flip it over and do the same thing to the outside of the skin. Just rub it in. Don't let the chicken wing get away. Getting all the nooks and crannies. Now, once you're done with the outside, I'll show you. So I took a knife after I split them, made a little slit right here under the skin, and that gives me access to the thigh, the drumstick, and then I came up this way, and you need to cut the silver skin in here a little bit to where you can get up into the breast. Now we're going to take some of this and actually go up underneath the skin with it. So I'm going to go into the breast with quite a bit. Just push it up in there and rub it around. Same for the thigh. And into that drumstick. Same for the other side. Now, if you haven't cut all the way, just push your fingers in there and just separate the skin from the meat. It's really easy to do. Just be careful to don't break the skin. And now that everything's got a good coating inside and out, just flap these down, flap the skin down to cover it, and we're going to use a Ziploc bag to store these. Bend this together and lay it in there. Well, try not to make too big a mess. There we go. So there's the first one. I'll zip it up here in a bit, and we're going to do the second one real quick and be right back. Okay, so we got them both spatchcocked, we got them both rubbed down with marinade in a Ziploc bag, so we're going to seal this up. And now we got two sister chickens that we're going to put out in the fridge and allow it to marinate for about 24 hours before we put them on the grill and the Traeger tomorrow. Now, you can do this 2 hours at a time. Ideally, you can do it 4 hours at a time, but best is the next day. If you're going to cook this meal, try to prep so you can do this the day prior. Okay, we'll be back in a few. Okay, so for the Chudbox, what we're doing is I've used a whole bag of B&B charcoal. I like this charcoal. It catches quick, it burns long and hot. I filled up a chimney and then put the rest of the bag into the cabinet of the Chudbox. And then I've also added a couple of post oak wood chunks in there. So we're going to run with that. We'll monitor the temps. This box is great because it loves to stay at 300 degrees. And I've done chicken on here before at 300 and it works good. On the Traeger, I am using a Traeger pellet. It's the signature blend. It's got like cherry, other hardwoods, maple, hickory. So all that's going to work well with that chicken. So there we go. Okay, let's start by putting this on the Traeger. We've got our chickens here. Lay it up here for now. I'm going to go ahead and put him on the bottom. Get this out of the way. We're going to go meat side down. Spread it out there. Make sure it's flat. You could tuck the wings under if you want, but I don't think that's going to be an issue here. And there we go. That's one. So for the Traeger, you want to make sure it's set to 225, and then we're going to turn on super smoke because 225 is the highest temperature that the Traeger will support for super smoke. So we're going to run it, the chicken, about, I'd say 45 minutes to an hour at this temp, and then we'll bump it up to about 350. Now the Chudbox is running at 300 degrees. I've got the smokestack about half open and on the second notch of the door. And we're going to lay this one out just like the Traeger. Okay, meat side down. Put some of these large chunks of garlic, see if they'll cook down. And then you don't want to lose this juice, so we'll just pour that right on top of it here. Okay, we're going to let that go for about an hour, and then we'll come back and check on it. Okay, so we're out of the smokers. The Chudbox ran between 300 and 350 for the last hour. It pretty much stayed around 350. It took maybe an hour and 45 minutes before I pulled it. And you can tell, you know, that charcoal, that direct heat, it got darker. Good crispy skin there. The Traeger, we ran at 225 for about 30 minutes with the super smoke mode, and then I bumped it to 300 for until the breast hit about 150, and then I bumped it to 350, flipped it over, got that skin. It's crispy as well, though not as much as the Chudbox. Now the thing about the Chudbox though, it basically fell apart. So the only thing holding, when you spatchcock, the only thing holding the drumstick and the thigh on is basically skin. So it came off, but the Traeger came out okay. So basically all we have to do is just trim the skin, and there you got your leg quarter. Now the other thing I will say in comparison is the amount of juice that's coming out of the Traeger is much more. I don't have an answer why that is, but it is. You can see it was basically just dripping the whole time when I pulled it off. So I'm going to pull this apart. We made two because we're going to have one for dinner here shortly, And then we're also going to save the breast for another recipe coming up. So, but before we do, what I want to do is let's take off one of these drumsticks. That's my favorite. So there's the Chudbox. Never can't find that joint. Come on, there we go. And let's give it a quick taste test between the two of them. Okay, the Peruvian brine is really good. Taste that vinegar, even the lime. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, I wouldn't pass this up anywhere. Let's try the Chudbox. I have a feeling this is going to be my favorite. I like charcoal flavor, so let's see. I'm trying to look to see if there's a little bit of a smoke ring here, but really not much. Now I did put some couple of oak chunks in there to smoke with this. I don't know. This definitely has a better, more smoky flavor than the Traeger. Yeah, this is good. They're both juicy, tender, cooked just right. The skin is comparable between the two, but when it comes to like imparting smoke flavor, Chudbox wins out. So, okay, well, let's plate up a dinner and see what we can do with it. We're all plated up, pretty plate, isn't it? So for the chicken breast, I basically alternated the pieces between the Chudbox and the Traeger. My wife couldn't make up her mind which one she liked. The Traeger, the Peruvian chicken flavor came through more. To be honest, I did put more of the rub and the brine on, or the marinade on that one. And then I ran out when I was doing the one on the Chud. And the Chud does have a lot more smoke flavor, so they're both very good. We've got our breast, we've got our quarter, some black beans and rice, and some large potatoes. This is kind of a classic, I'd say Peruvian meal for what we've seen before. At the restaurants, you would normally get plantains instead of potatoes. I'm not a big fan of plantains, but potatoes work just as well. And everything is better with some of this ahi verde sauce on it. Okay. Let's take a look at this chicken breast. So you see, when you pull back that skin, all that rub is still under here. This is going to be a very Peruvian bite. I don't know if you can see that. First, let me try it by itself. Yep, all those flavors from the marinade are right there. Lime, vinegar, cumin. And then to make it even better, dip it in the sauce. You gotta try this. It's a great meal for any night. Takes a little preparation. You make the marinade the night before, marinate the chicken overnight. And again, you can marinate for 4 hours, but overnight you get a better taste. And then throw it on a smoker, your pellet smoker, direct heat smoker, your big offset smoker if you want to. And all this came together, pretty quickly today once we got started. So hope you enjoyed this. If you do make this recipe, do me a favor, take a picture of it and post it and tag me if you would. I'd be interested to see You can tag me here on YouTube or over on Instagram at Lone Bull BBQ. But I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video. But until then, don't forget to pepper up your backyard. Take care, guys. And we'll keep eating. You still here? Come on. I'm eating.